So the thing about me is that I like to know insider information. Like not anything useful. I'm not like a day trader or anything, but like statistics, numbers. Tell me what the best sellers are. Tell me what sells well at your counter. Tell me what sells well in your province, in the country, for this brand, for that brand. If I ever get invited to an event like a launch or some sort of celebration at a store where there's counters where they're selling stuff that I'm into, those are the kinds of questions I always ask. Like, what are people buying? So, what's your bestseller? And then the second thing is, what are people asking for that you don't currently have? And usually the sales associates are not ready. They're not ready for any questions, so they have no answers for me. And they'll direct me to the travel set or discovery set, and they're like, we'll just get this, or we have this kit, like just get this kit, and that's going to set you up. But those are not the answers that I'm looking for. I bring this up because recently Fragrances of the World, which is a company out of Australia, it's run by Michael Edwards, who's a fragrance expert. They recently just redid the fragrance wheel. Not recently, a couple of years ago, they redid the fragrance wheel, and so it took out the word Oriental and replaced it with amber. And they recently put out a market report for the period of January to September, and what the report said was that there have been 13% fewer launches in this time period compared to the same time period last year. And they look at launches across different categories. So they have indie, they have prestige, which is actually masstige, so it's like the expensive brands but available to everybody. So Chanel number 5, for example, which is available at lots of points of sale. They have luxury, which is that would be like the exclusive line for Chanel. And then they have other. So everything else that's been launched, and all categories saw a reduction. And so overall, the reduction was 13% fewer launches. I think if you follow perfume, that is actually good news, because what people have noticed is that there's been so many launches, but not everything is good. There's a lot of flankers, but the flankers often don't, go with the original fragrance. Consumers sometimes feel like they're paying more and more and more, but not really getting any value for money. This conversation is one that we've been having forever. And, actually what happens is that sometimes people are more attracted to vintage because vintage actually seems more affordable and there's fewer launches. You can kind of explore all your vintages and really get to know them instead of exploring every new release and just being disappointed by everything new that has come out. This brings me to the perfume I'm going to talk about today, and that is Shalimar, the Millésime Tonka version of Shalimar. So someone who saw that I was on this Shalimar journey that I've been on, which has been super fun, and I will admit that the vintage version is the best version. The Eau de Cologne that's vintage is really, really good. But someone sent me this Millésime Tonka version to see what I thought of it, and I am so grateful for that, because when Guerlain comes out with these come out, like a version of Shalimar will come out around Christmas time. It's always limited edition, it's limited quantities, so people are really eager to buy them whether they smell good or not. Oftentimes you can't even sample it because it is limited edition and it does sell out so quickly, so samples usually aren't even available. Every time something like this comes out, people say that, this is an example of the industry just coming out with more, and it doesn't even have to be good, and they just want to grab people's money. And, all of that might be true. All of that might be true, but honestly, can you blame them? Because people love to buy these bottles. They sell out every time and they sell out immediately. And I can kind of see why, right? Like if you are a collector, you're going to want to get it. If you know someone that really likes perfume, great gift. And it's Christmas time. Perfect. Amazing. Even if you don't like perfume and you want to resell it, chances are someone bought it, really liked it, is now looking for another bottle and they can't find it because it was limited edition. So if you're a brand and you can capitalize on your success, of course you're going to do that. But, you know, maybe we'll see less of that if brands are choosing to launch fewer products. And so this is where, you know, this Fragrances of the World comes in handy because they are unbiased. So they won't tell you whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they do talk to the brands, and the brands are saying that they would rather focus their energies on supporting existing markets, existing points of sale, and supporting launches that they already have. So strengthening their brand presence. And so brands don't want to launch as much as maybe they have before. We're still seeing a lot of launches, but maybe they're launching less. That doesn't mean that people are buying less, because I think people are still buying more. I think overall the industry is still growing in that sense, but the number of launches seems to be fewer so far. So far the trend is fewer. Now let's see what happens from September to December. But okay, Shalimar Mélissime Tonka, honestly, if you had not told me that this was a version of Shalimar, I would not have known, because it's really missing that citrusy bergamot opening of Shalimar that we all know and love. And I think if you don't like that opening, if you don't like the bergamot, then I would say that you actually don't like Shalimar. Kind of a controversial opinion, but that is kind of the best part. That is what makes Shalimar. Shalimar is the blend of the citrus with the vanilla, without it really being a gourmand, because if you take away that citrus, it does kind of become a little kitcheny, gourmandy, cupcakey. So this is not a citrusy. I could smell citrus. Like when I smell this, I can smell citrus. But when I spray it, I really don't get a lot of citrus in here. And the sample is almost done because I wore it today and I wore it over the weekend. Not as much bergamot. Mainly, you get a lot of bitter almond from the tonka. You get that gorgeous vanilla. It really has, you know, tonka has almond notes, but there's like a cherry flavor in here too, and the combination just reminds me of a cherry Coke. Like it really does have a cherry cola kind of vibe, and it's quite delicious. It's really, really easy to wear. It's mouth-wateringly good without being too sweet. I actually found it to be kind of addictive. Like I was smelling my wrist again and again today because I just thought it smelled so good. But does it smell like Shalimar? I would say no. I think that what makes Shalimar so good is that citrus, and it's this, you know, smokiness and leather that comes out when Shalimar is at its best. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is that they're calling this the Millissime Tonka version because, you know, Millissime means that something is the best. So they're saying that this is the best vanilla, and they say it's Madagascar vanilla enhanced by being tinctured in organic alcohol. So Guerlain did switch to organic alcohol in 2022, or even maybe before that, but definitely in 2022, one of the things that they were saying is that their alcohol was all organic and they had to work with that, and they wanted to do that. So that's one of the things that's different. But I mean, anyone that knows Shalimar knows that one of the things that is iconic to the story of Shalimar is that they use vanillin, right? They never used real Madagascar vanilla. They always used vanillin, and that was what was great about it, is this overdose of vanillin in a perfume. And whether it was by accident or on purpose, it kind of brought out those leathery, smoky qualities that maybe weren't there in other vanilla based scents, or maybe they can make them come out. And so to switch and say that you're now using Madagascar vanilla, like it doesn't even seem true. Like why would anyone do that when that's not even necessary to make a good perfume? So that's the part where I'm like, okay, like give me the numbers now. Like how much real vanilla is in there? Are people really asking for that? Like who even cares? But anyways, the tonka in this is really good. The vanilla is great. It's that, epic, cozy, yummy Shalimar vanilla, that Guerlain vanilla that we know and love. Is it really a Shalimar? I would say no. I can see why it still sells out. I can see why people love it, but I just don't think it smells really like Shalimar. And I still think that my favorite version is the Eau de Cologne, because the Eau de Cologne is smoky and leathery. This does have leathery qualities also. There is a leather that comes out, especially if it wears for a little while. And I had it on paper and I couldn't smell the leather right away, but in the dry down I could smell the leather, and then on skin I got the leather more quickly, so that was better, but still not an overly leathery perfume. I would say it's a very feminine, wearable, gentle kind of leather, perfect for kind of cool temperatures. It works really, really well, but yeah, more cherry cola in the beginning, and then the dry down is more of a sparkly, yummy vanilla cola. I'm staying with this cola theme. I really do get like a Coke, like really like a delicious, yummy Coke. My mouth is literally watering thinking about that. And then because I wore this today, at the end of the day, I wanted to drink a Coke, and I had a Coke in my fridge, and I opened my fridge and it turned out that my fridge had been unplugged, so my Coke wasn't cold, and then I didn't get to drink it, so I put it back in the fridge, and maybe I'll get to drink it tomorrow. But my sample is done. I actually did love it, and I did a little bit of digging, and this was $135, I think, $135 when it first launched last year, and that's Canadian, obviously. I know that people are selling it for way more. I did an eBay search today, and it was selling for like $200. I've seen people sell it for $230, $250, in that neighborhood. I kind of feel like if you missed it, you missed it. But I also know that this year's Shalimar Flanker is going to be an iris one. And I kind of want to get that, because I think that the more I wore this, the more it grew on me. And I would definitely want to try the Flanker that's coming out. So yeah, if you missed it, wait for the Flanker. Wait for another version. There's so many versions out there that you can get. I don't know if I would pay more than retail for this one. But if you've already gone through a bottle and then you want to replace that bottle, I could also understand why you might want to pay more than retail, so that you can always have it with you if this happened to be your favorite Flanker. I just it's just not a Shalimar. It's just another good perfume. It's a great tonka vanilla. It could be called cola. Like now I get why there's a perfume called tonka cola or something like that. It's yummy. It's delicious. It's sparkling. Just don't call it Shalimar. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.